Biblically Centered Kids.
Well, hello! Happy Friday, October 18th, 2024. This is the Biblically Centered Kids podcast. My name is Miss Danika, and I'm excited to be with you today. Thank you so much for listening. Well, here's a fun holiday for all of our listeners in Alaska. Yeah, that's right. We have some listeners from a few places in Alaska, but mostly concentrated around the city of Dillingham. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Gentry before introducing today's national holiday. Hi, Gentry. I hope you and your family are doing well and enjoying your fall in gorgeous Alaska. Well, if you haven't guessed it by now, today's national holiday is National Alaska Day. Alaska is the largest state by area in the United States, and it was the 49th state to join the U.S. right before Hawaii. A long time ago, Alaska was populated by indigenous people from various tribes before Russia actually came and settled. But after 68 years, Russia ended up leaving Alaska and sold it to the U.S., who was looking to expand their territory. Lots of people thought this was a huge mistake. However, in the 18th century, two prospectors found gold in the Klondike region and thus began the gold rush era in Alaska. Upwards of 10,000 fortune seekers headed to Alaska to see what they could find. And on January 3rd, 1959, Alaska officially became a United State. And my uncle has actually lived on Klondike Island for probably 20 years or so. I've actually never been to visit, but my parents did last year and said it was incredible. They said the beauty there is unmatched. So if you're one of our listeners from Alaska, like Gentry, I hope that you're able to get outside today and appreciate the beautiful handiwork of God for us all today. And if you don't live in Alaska, well, I'd encourage you to ask a parent or guardian to look up some pictures or videos of Alaska's gorgeous scenery. It's always such a good idea to acknowledge God's creation. He truly is an amazing creator. Well, it's Friday, and you know what that means? That's right, it's quiz day! You can either answer aloud or grab a pen and paper to write down your answers. Are you ready to answer some questions from this week's Biblical Family Virtue? Let's get started. Question 1. What is virtue P that we've been talking about all week? Is it A, diligence, B, dutifulness, or C, dedication? So is that A, diligence, B, dutifulness, or C, dedication? That's right. The answer is A, of course. Virtue P says we practice using our gifts and talents with diligence and purpose. Question number 2. Speaking of diligence, what does that even mean? Does it mean A, working hard, B, being careful, or C, not giving up? So is it A, working hard, B, being careful, or C, not giving up? You know I always like to do one of these tricky questions. The answer is actually all of them. Yep, that's right. As we heard from Colossians 3:23 this week, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. This means that we should always do our best because we are doing it for God. All right, question number 3. Who did God ask to build a giant boat called an ark? Was it A, Abraham, B, Moses, or C, Noah? Yep, that's right. Noah is correct. Noah obeyed God, and so he was able to be used to save his family and animals from the flood that covered the whole earth. All right, question number 4. Around how many years did it take Noah to build the ark? Was it A, 25, B, 50, or C, 75? A, 25, B, 50, or C, 75? Yes, isn't that crazy? It took Noah around 75 years to build the ark. That would be like if one of your grandparents had been working on a massive boat in their backyard for their whole entire life. Do you think you could continue to be diligent in a task so enormous? It would definitely take a lot of faith and trust. All right, question number 5, our last question for today. What were some of the disciples doing when Jesus called them to follow him? Were they A, playing mini golf, B, fishing, or C, being lazy? Were they A, playing mini golf, B, fishing, or C, being lazy? Yeah, I think I made that way too easy. You're right. They were fishing. Jesus saw their diligence and called them to follow him and become fishers of men. Well, that's the end of our quiz for today. How did you do? I think it's so cool that Jesus took something ordinary that his disciples were doing and then turned it into the extraordinary. Before, they were just fishing for fish or just food for their physical needs. But after they met Jesus and decided to follow him, they were able to fish for people's souls and guide them to Jesus, who meets our every need. I just love a good parallel in scripture, don't you? And guess what? If you're a follower of Jesus, you get to be a fisher of men too. The Great Commission in the Bible calls us to make disciples and show them how to follow Christ. But I'm really getting ahead of myself. That's virtue Z. We've still got a few weeks before we get there. All right, well, I had so much fun with you today. Until next time.